Ladies and gentlemen, we all have moments in life when we feel stuck, as if our minds are replaying the same negative patterns over and over again. But here's the truth. Our thoughts are not just random clouds passing by. They are the architects of our reality. If we want to change our lives, we must first reset our thinking. Today, I want to share with you 9 powerful habits that can help you reset your thoughts and create a life filled with clarity, growth, and purpose. The first keynote focuses on the power of a mental reset, an idea that emphasizes how deeply our thoughts influence the reality we live in. Every action we take, every decision we make, and even how we interpret events around us are guided by the patterns of thinking we've built over time. If those patterns are negative, self-limiting, or rooted in past disappointments, our reality will often reflect that limitation. On the other hand, when we learn to shift our mindset toward growth, optimism, and possibility, our lives begin to align with a better version of ourselves. A mental reset is not about forgetting the past or pretending challenges don't exist. It is about reclaiming control over the internal dialogue that shapes our daily choices. We cannot expect to create a new life if we are still using the same thought processes that built the old one. This shift begins with awareness, becoming conscious of the repetitive mental scripts running in the background of our minds. Many of these scripts were formed years ago from experiences, upbringing, or societal influence. They can cause us to act out of fear, doubt, or even self-sabotage without realizing it. By pausing and observing our thoughts without judgment, we begin to see where change is needed. A mental reset often starts with the decision to break from autopilot living. Too many people move through life responding to situations with ingrained habits rather than deliberate thinking. This is why, even when opportunities arise, they might miss them because their mindset is still wired for survival instead of growth. Resetting the mind allows us to step out of these cycles and approach life with fresh curiosity. One of the most powerful ways to initiate this process is to introduce small daily practices that challenge the old way of thinking. This could be as simple as reframing a negative thought into a positive perspective, asking empowering questions instead of making self-defeating statements, or consciously focusing on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Over time, these small acts become mental habits that strengthen new thought patterns. The power of a mental reset is also rooted in neuroscience. Our brains are adaptable through a process called neuroplasticity, which means they can form new connections and pathways even in adulthood. This scientific fact reinforces the idea that we are never truly stuck with our current way of thinking. By intentionally introducing healthier, more empowering thoughts, we train our brains to favor these pathways until they become natural. It's much like clearing out a cluttered room. The more you remove what no longer serves you, the more space you have for things that bring value. In the context of the mind, letting go of limiting beliefs makes room for hope, ambition, and clarity. Another important aspect of a mental reset is self-compassion. It's common for people to become frustrated when they notice how often negative thoughts surface. However, this is not a sign of failure, it's proof of awareness, and awareness is the first step toward change. Rather than condemning yourself for having those thoughts, see them as signals pointing to areas that need healing or reprogramming. This shift from judgment to curiosity transforms the process from a battle into a journey of self-discovery. Over time, as your thoughts change, your actions naturally follow. You begin to take risks you once avoided, embrace opportunities you once doubted you could handle, and handle challenges with a calm confidence that was absent before. Ultimately, the power of a mental reset lies in realizing that your mind is your greatest tool for transformation. Every great change in life begins first in thought, and by consciously choosing new ways of thinking, you lay the foundation for a new way of living. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. When you align your thoughts with the life you want to create, your reality begins to shift in ways that once seemed impossible. The second keynote centers on the importance of morning rituals for creating positive momentum in both thought and action. The way we start our day has a direct influence on our mental state, productivity, and emotional resilience throughout the hours that follow. Many people unknowingly sabotage their mindset from the moment they wake up by rushing into the noise of the outside world, checking notifications, scrolling through social media, or stressing about tasks before their minds have even had a chance to settle. This instant immersion into chaos can cloud thinking, raise anxiety levels, and set a reactive tone for the rest of the day. In contrast, beginning the morning with intentional, structured rituals allows us to take control of our mental environment and prime ourselves for a day filled with focus and purpose. One of the most powerful practices in a morning ritual is intentional silence. The first minutes after waking should be a sacred time where you create space for clarity. Sitting quietly, focusing on deep breathing, or meditating helps calm the mind and allows thoughts to settle before you step into the busyness of the day. This silence acts like a mental reset button, giving you the chance to choose your emotional state rather than letting external circumstances decide it for you. It's not about doing nothing, it's about actively creating a calm foundation from which all your thoughts will emerge. Gratitude is another essential pillar of an empowering morning routine. Starting the day by acknowledging the good in your life shifts your focus away from what's missing or wrong toward what's abundant and right. This shift is incredibly powerful because the mind tends to look for more of what it focuses on. By writing down or mentally listing 3 things you're grateful for each morning, you train your brain to scan for positives throughout the day. Over time, this habit rewires your thinking, making optimism a natural reflex rather than a forced effort. A well-structured morning ritual also includes setting clear intentions for the day. Without a sense of purpose, it's easy to drift from task to task without meaningful progress. By taking just a few minutes to visualize your goals and outline your priorities, you program your mind to remain aligned with what truly matters. This is where affirmations can be incredibly effective. Positive affirmations help replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Repeating statements such as "I am capable of handling any challenge" or "Today I choose growth over comfort" can reinforce a strong mindset that influences how you respond to situations. Physical activity, even in a light form such as stretching or a short walk, can also be a key part of morning momentum. Moving the body increases blood flow to the brain, boosts energy, and enhances focus. This combination of mental and physical activation helps set the stage for productive, creative, and solution-oriented thinking throughout the day. It's important to understand that a morning ritual doesn't have to be long or complicated. Even a 10-20-minute routine can be transformative if practiced consistently. The real value lies in its ability to help you start the day from a proactive rather than reactive state. When you wake up and immediately take charge of your mindset, you set a powerful tone that can carry through every interaction, challenge, and decision that follows. Over time, this consistent practice not only resets your thoughts each morning, but also transforms the way you approach life as a whole. Instead of letting the day control you, you begin to live with intention, focus, and an unshakable sense of direction. The third keynote is about shifting from limitation to possibility by changing the way we speak to ourselves and the questions we ask. The words we use are more than just communication, they are instructions to our subconscious mind. When we constantly say things like "I can't," "It's too hard," or "That's impossible for me," we are telling our brain to shut down any search for solutions. These phrases act like mental stop signs, blocking us from seeing opportunities that might be right in front of us. On the other hand, replacing such limiting language with empowering questions like "How can I?" or "What's one small step I can take?" immediately changes the direction of our thinking. Instead of closing the door, we open it wide to creativity, resourcefulness, and problem solving. This shift in thinking isn't about ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is easy. It's about training your mind to approach obstacles with curiosity rather than defeat. When you say "I can't," the conversation in your head ends, but when you ask "How can," your brain starts searching for answers, even if they aren't immediate. This is the power of possibility thinking. It turns what seems like a wall into a puzzle that can be solved. Over time, these small shifts in self-talk create entirely new mental habits. Each time you choose empowering language, you're building a mindset that's focused on solutions rather than problems. This doesn't just change how you think about your own abilities, it also changes how you interpret the world. Opportunities that once went unnoticed start to stand out. People who can help you seem to appear at the right time. It's not magic, it's the brain filtering information differently, based on the questions you ask. Another key part of this shift is learning to reframe setbacks. Instead of seeing failure as proof that you're not capable, see it as feedback that can guide your next step. Ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" or "What's the hidden advantage here?" This turns even difficult experiences into fuel for growth. Every time you reframe a challenge, you strengthen your resilience and reduce the power of fear and doubt over your decisions. Ultimately, moving from limitation to possibility is about taking responsibility for your internal dialogue. You may not always control the circumstances you face, but you can always control how you choose to think about them. By consistently asking better questions, speaking to yourself in a way that builds confidence, and reframing setbacks into opportunities, you create a mental environment where growth is not just possible, it's inevitable. This mindset doesn't just reset your thoughts, it fundamentally transforms the way you experience and shape your life. The fourth keynote focuses on curating your mental environment, which means intentionally choosing what and who you allow to influence your thoughts. Just as the food you eat impacts your physical health, the information, conversations, and people you engage with directly affect your mental well-being and mindset. If your mind is constantly fed with negativity, drama, and doubt, it becomes much harder to think clearly or maintain optimism. Over time, this creates a mental environment where stress thrives, creativity shrinks, and self-confidence erodes. On the other hand, when you deliberately fill your mind with positive, growth-oriented influences, you cultivate an inner space where clarity, motivation, and resilience can flourish. One of the first steps in curating your mental environment is being mindful of the content you consume daily. This includes social media, television, podcasts, books, and even casual conversations. Ask yourself whether the things you're engaging with inspire you or drain you. If they consistently trigger frustration, fear, or self-doubt, it may be time to replace them with content that uplifts and educates. For example, swapping out an hour of mindless scrolling for an inspiring audiobook or a motivational talk can make a surprising difference in your mood and mindset. Equally important is the company you keep. The attitudes and beliefs of the people around you inevitably rub off on you, whether you realize it or not. If you spend most of your time with individuals who complain, discourage ambition, or resist growth, their energy will influence you towards stagnation. On the other hand, surrounding yourself with growth-minded, optimistic people encourages you to think bigger, aim higher, and believe in your own potential. This doesn't mean cutting everyone out of your life, but it does mean setting healthy boundaries with those whose energy consistently pulls you down. Another part of curating your mental environment is creating a physical space that supports clear thinking. Cluttered, chaotic surroundings often mirror and reinforce a cluttered mind. By keeping your workspace, home, or personal area organized and intentional, you create a physical environment that reflects the mental clarity you're striving for. Even small changes like adding inspirational quotes where you can see them, or keeping a journal nearby, can subtly reinforce positive thinking habits. It's also important to remember that curating your mental environment is an ongoing process, not a one-time decision. As you grow and evolve, you may outgrow certain influences, habits, or even relationships. Being willing to continually reassess what you allow into your mind ensures that your internal world stays aligned with the person you are becoming. In the long run, the quality of your mental environment becomes the foundation for every decision you make, every goal you pursue, and every version of yourself you grow into. By consciously choosing influences that inspire, support, and challenge you in healthy ways, you give your mind the best possible conditions to thrive. The fifth keynote is about emotional release and forgiveness, which are essential for creating mental clarity and opening space for growth. Many people carry the weight of past mistakes, regrets, or painful experiences without realizing how much it impacts their present thoughts and future possibilities. When we hold on to grudges, bitterness, or self-blame, our mental energy becomes tied to the past. This creates a constant undercurrent of tension, making it harder to focus on what we want to achieve. Forgiveness in this context is not about excusing hurtful behavior or pretending something didn't happen. Instead, it's about freeing yourself from the emotional chains that keep you stuck. Letting go begins with the decision to stop replaying the same negative stories in your mind. Each time we mentally revisit a painful memory without working toward resolution, we reinforce the emotional hold it has over us. Over time, this can create a mental loop that limits our ability to think clearly or make new choices. Choosing to release those emotions doesn't mean the pain never existed. It means you are no longer letting it define you. This shift often starts by acknowledging the hurt, processing it in a healthy way, and then consciously deciding to move forward. Forgiveness is not only about others, it's also about ourselves. Many people are trapped in self-blame, constantly reliving past decisions they wish they could change. This self-directed anger can be even more damaging because it erodes self-esteem and creates an inner environment of criticism rather than compassion. Learning to forgive yourself is a crucial step in resetting your thoughts. It involves accepting that you made choices based on the knowledge and awareness you had at the time, and understanding that mistakes are part of the process of becoming wiser and stronger. A useful approach to emotional release is shifting the focus from "why did this happen to me" to "what can I learn from this?" This reframing transforms painful events into valuable life lessons. When you view challenges as teachers rather than punishments, you reclaim your power over them. Instead of being defined by the past, you use it as a stepping stone toward a better future. It's also worth noting that forgiveness and emotional release are often gradual processes. Some wounds heal quickly while others require repeated efforts to fully let go. That's why patience with yourself is vital. Each act of release, no matter how small, lightens the mental load you carry. Over time, as you let go of resentment and guilt, you create a mental space where peace, clarity, and optimism can grow. By choosing forgiveness for others and for yourself, you are not condoning the hurt, but reclaiming your right to live without the weight of it. This freedom allows your mind to focus on possibilities rather than past pain, which is essential for building a life aligned with your goals and values. In this way, emotional release becomes a powerful tool for transforming your thoughts and ultimately your life. The sixth keynote emphasizes the power of consistency in small, aligned actions as the foundation for lasting change. Many people believe transformation requires a dramatic overhaul or a single life-changing event. But real and sustainable progress usually comes from the small steps we take every day. These actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they compound into powerful results. Just as a single drop of water can eventually fill a bucket, small, consistent habits have the ability to reshape our mindset, behavior, and ultimately our reality. The key is alignment, taking actions that are in harmony with the person you want to become and the life you want to create. Random effort without direction often leads to frustration because it lacks a sense of purpose. But when each action, no matter how small, is connected to a larger vision, it becomes meaningful. For example, if your goal is to have a calmer, more positive mind, then starting your day with 5 minutes of meditation or journaling aligns perfectly with that vision. These small efforts might feel too minor to matter in the short term, but over weeks and months, they build a strong mental foundation. Consistency also strengthens self-trust. Each time you follow through on a small commitment, you send a signal to yourself that you can be relied upon. This builds confidence and makes it easier to tackle bigger challenges. On the other hand, constantly starting and stopping creates a pattern of self-doubt, which can erode motivation. This is why it's better to commit to small, manageable actions you can sustain than to aim for something overly ambitious that you abandon after a short time. Another important aspect of consistent action is patience. The results of aligned habits are not always immediate, and this can tempt people to give up too soon. It's important to remember that change often happens gradually beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Much like planting a seed, the work you do today may not show results tomorrow, but it is still working silently to produce growth. To maintain momentum, it helps to track your progress and celebrate small wins. Recognizing even minor improvements reinforces your motivation and reminds you that you are moving forward, even if the progress feels slow. This mindset shift from expecting instant results to valuing steady growth is a hallmark of people who successfully transform their lives. Ultimately, the habit of taking small, consistent, and purposeful actions creates a ripple effect. It influences not only how you think and feel, but also how you respond to challenges and opportunities. Over time, these daily choices accumulate into significant shifts in perspective, capability, and confidence. This steady dedication is what turns dreams into reality. Not a single leap, but 1,000 small steps taken with intention and persistence.